O'clock. Good morning, Peter.
Morning.
All right. Yeah, John, I don't know whether he's travelling back from Cornwall or he's already back. I don't know. So
I thought he was back.
yeah, I thought he did too. But his message last night said that he would, if he could, join us. Good morning, Royston Radio. If you're listening to this on the radio, it is Saturday, but we are live now on Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. This is Blabbing for Britain, and we're just waiting for everything to connect, and then Peter and I will appear on screen.
I'll probably get a message from YouTube.
Yeah, I can see somebody's using. Yes, we do have a third musketeer. So move that card away, and he's setting himself up. I'll wait for him to get comfortable.
Okay.
Move the card and say an official good morning, Peter.
Official good morning, Stephen.
Right, okay. And he's looking as if he's ready to join us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got thumbs up. Okay, so we're all here. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Of course, as I was going to come on, the blooming phone rings. It was the bank. Suspicious transaction.
Oh, you're not a person of interest.
It was a real transaction. I'd paid for a shower, a new shower cabin, and they thought it was a strange, suspicious transaction.
Okay.
Better that than what?
Any day. I'd rather be called and checked on.
Yeah, well, what a great start. What do you think we should talk about it just now?
Sinead O'Connor.
Well, yeah, I did think of her as well. So if you want to start with that.
No, it's okay. If you've got a topic to run with, Peter, go for it.
Well, famous football saying, we have every confidence in the manager. Then they're gone the next day. Right. So
yeah, sacked in the morning is the blog that does that.
Now, if you were a young clerk and you leaked out information about somebody, do you think they would give you a 5 million lump sum payoff? Because I'm watching the news right now.
Yeah.
That lady, I've even forgotten her name now, has just been given a £5 million lump sum pay off.
Would she have got that if she'd just said I'm retiring well enough?
Well, she did. She resigned.
No. Just bear with me on an alternative scenario. She woke up Monday morning, nothing had happened in relation to Farage, and she just said, right, I've had enough with this banking lark. I'm going off to walk the Cairngorms. How much money do I get?
I don't know, but she was paid a lot of money, and she wasn't even on the board of directors. This has been found out. She wasn't on the board of directors.
Okay.
And then they said, just for those that listen abroad and everything, she said that she apologised for she was the leak, giving out some confidential information about someone basically she didn't like, to be honest with you. Didn't have you. And what happened was the bank said they had every confidence in her. Then there was a meeting late at night and she resigned during the night. I think it was 1:30 in the morning with a £5 million lump sum. But don't you think it's stopping there? Because there's a big campaign now of people who have been watched, etc. And I think there's going to be a lot of compensation coming out just shortly. And the bank has absolutely dropped, well, billions of pounds, I think it is, they've dropped in their shares.
They've lost 650 million in value, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was that. Your thoughts on it, John?
Rich, well, I haven't seen anything about her other than she admitted that she spoke to the BBC.
Yeah.
But personally, You've got to have a look at what she achieved in the time that she was there, and that's what she's been rewarded for, I think.
But according looking at it, she didn't really do much.
Oh, no, that's not true. That's
Okay,
not
tell me what she done.
there have been many pieces written by women in business who said she was the person that they looked up to most. She
Okay,
said,
right. So what did she actually do for the bank? That's what I want to know.
I don't know what a day-to-day job was, but I do know that she shouldn't have spoken to the BBC. That was, well, where do you want to start? Stupid, ill-informed, in the heat of the moment. No, the bank should never, irrespective of who you are, the bank should never disclose anything which is personal to you to the general public.
Yeah, but I looked into it. The figures didn't dramatically increase when she went there. That was her job. But she did say she would come in with certain things. Listen, a bank's there to take in money and give out money. Lend money, give out. And it's about 40% owned by the British public.
Correct.
But it was, when she started, 86% owned by the British public. And she's driven the bank forward such that the government has reduced its holding from 86% to 42%.
So how did she do that? How did she do that? Did
she drove up the shareholding value? She drove up the service levels. Yeah.
Right. Did she charge her customers more?
I can't answer that. I'm not a NatWest customer. And I've certainly never been a Coutts customer.
Yeah, I've been a Coutts customer. Can you believe that?
Yeah, you told us last week that you've been a Coutts
customer. Right.
You had to do it when you were sent to Northern Ireland.
So basically, yes. And boy, you were told if you went overdrawn, I'm told you were on a charge. Yeah, there you go. Right. So basically, that's the big news. And I think a lot of other banks are going to be looked into. Mr. Farage is on just now, actually. And so banks are...
He wants more people to go.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
One person made a mistake and they've gone. That should be the end of it, John, yeah?
You've got to look into it a bit more than that.
I'm sorry, but I actually don't think she should have gone. And she wouldn't have gone if it hadn't been for shareholder pressure.
So why did she resign then?
Because of shareholder pressure.
Well, she should have stayed on till the sector.
The Prime Minister got involved and so did Mr. Hunt. And they expressed the opinion that it would be better if she wasn't there. So
is that in writing somewhere?
It's in the press, Peter.
All right, okay.
They didn't actually write it down. They never write anything down.
Right, there you go. It could be. Where's the BBC?
It could be fake news, Peter.
Well, the BBC have actually got their own program for that now, their own channel. Do you know what it's called?
BBC 4. No, go on then.
BBC Verify.
Right, okay.
Right, so what they actually done, what was the last one that was a carry on with the BBC? They actually investigated someone in the BBC. What one was it again? Okay. I think it was the guy that took the leak, but it was someone else before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting all... They've got this BBC Verify, and they've actually set them up because people are saying to BBC Verify, have you investigated this? Have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? It's just getting a mess, you know?
Yeah.
And what surprises me, actually, there's an MP who can't get his money out of the bank. And he was on the other day, and the bank's holding on to his money or something like that. It's just crazy. Because he can't get another bank account or something. Anyway, somebody doesn't know it's... I better take this, cut him off.
While Peter is answering the phone, welcome to the show. This is Blabbing for Britain, episode 384, a UK news review, which started off with Peter's topic of the day, which is Coutts.
Let's have a rant about something. That's Peter's
topic. He got it off his chest, definitely. Yeah, indeed. So, yeah, Peter sat back and he's talking. So we'll leave that. Okay. How are things in Solihull, John? How was the holiday, first of all?
The holiday was great. It was good. Yeah. Didn't want to come back.
Why
Had
did
to
you?
drive back very carefully because the night before we came home, I hit a concrete curb and caused a bump, a lump in the front tyre. But I could not get a tyre of any make of the correct size anywhere from Truro to Exeter. So in the end, we decided to ride home gently and not go over 50 miles all the way home. So we went along the north coast to Devon, across to Bath, up to Chippenham, then to Cirencester, and then to Stratford upon Avon.
Right.
Actually, we really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
We stopped off in Minehead and had walkarounds and things. Yeah, it was like the old days when that was the only way you could get, down the A38 to Cornwall.
Yeah.
So I got my new tyre. Everybody in the southwest said the earliest they could get me a tyre was Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I got back home, and Sunday morning I went on the internet, ordered a tyre, and it was fitted Tuesday morning. I could have had it fitted Monday afternoon, but we'd already got an appointment at the hospital.
Yeah.
So everything's well with it now, and there. But the holiday was fantastic. We had this little thing called annex, Keel Annex, and basically the man Dave, because he lived on site, and the annex is next to his house. He bought a row of tin sheds that used to be industrial buildings, and I mean big tin sheds. And he got them at auction and knocked them all down, built a house for himself, and then built a pair of semis to finance it all. Yeah, so obviously he borrowed money and then got it all back through the sales. But this left him with what was originally the office for the site, which was a brick building. And he spent a few bob on it and turned it into a little holiday home. And we rented that. And the only it's beautifully finished. Yeah, I mean, like the houses look great. He's really spent some good money in it. It's got its own private little courtyard and garden, and really nicely done out. But the only thing wrong with it was his wireless was shit, for want of a better expression. Wi-Fi, absolutely useless. And I had a good look at it, and somebody had sold him a pup. He'd put a cable in, but then he'd got somebody to come in and they'd put a little skybox on the end. But you couldn't connect to it because it only works with the Sky Mesh system. So I told him what to order. He ordered it. I fitted it for him, and now he has brilliant internet in the annex, and it has its own SSID, so they can't get into his network. So that was a good bit of fun, and we had fantastic time. I got told off for working, but the one thing I did do before I went down was I installed Splash Top, which is a remote software management. You can do it with RDP, but this uses proper VPNs and everything. And for 50 quid, I can remotely connect from my laptop to 2 different machines. And it meant that in the morning, I could just open my laptop, click 2 buttons, one to run the software, one to log on to the selected machine, and I could operate my PC as if I was sat at it, even though I was in Cornwall. So it meant I could do all my email management and everything. And then after that, shut it down and forget it for the rest of the day, and then check it the next morning. So it gives me the advantage that I can then be at a customer site and I've got total access to my own, and obviously you can copy and paste and everything you can think of doing it. So that was a 50 quid investment that gives me a whole year of remote access to 2 PCs. But I've only got 1 PC to access. But that's what
it's good. As you say, it means you can go anywhere in the world and access your PC.
Yeah, and you obviously you don't have to have your laptop with you. You can log into a website and then log across. Yeah. So yeah, it's the software I put into the customers who wanted to be able to work from home when COVID came along. Yeah. And I did that for 4 people. And 3 of them don't go to the office anymore. They work from home and go to the office maybe once a month.
Back in the day, I had an annual subscription to Log Me In, which was one of the first systems to offer what you're talking about. Since I stopped doing software, which is 7 years ago now, I didn't need it, so I don't have it anymore. Yeah.
And this just has given me a bit of flexibility that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
It does mean that now, I, as well as being able to log into my own machine, I can easily log into all of my customers' machines that have got the software running on them.
Yeah.
So, you know.
For those of you listening on Royston Radio, thank you. Peter is now getting a coffee. He's scooted over to the corner of his office and is setting it up so that he can have a coffee in a moment.
Now, the question is, whose cups is he using? Are we Costa this week, or are we forgotten their name now? What's the other one?
There. He's got a stack of cups. And here comes the advert.
We can't see it.
Just a minute.
Oh, recyclable. I can't remember because it's the wrong way round, Peter.
It's upside down.
No, it's left to right.
No, the writing was upside down then, I swear, John.
No, the writing's left to right instead of right to left. He needs mirroring.
Again, he's back to his... Peter, is your... You know, we go into the cog to actually tell the system to invert things where it says mirror camera.
Yeah. Try.
Yeah. Can you click it off?
Hold on.
The cog above your picture. Yeah. And then it comes up and there's an option halfway down, mirror camera. He's turned his microphone off again.
It's on. Right. No, it's not showing.
It's not ticked. Okay.
So click it then.
No, you don't want it. You don't want to mirror the camera.
You do, because the writing was the wrong way.
It's disappeared, that thing that says auto framing.
The cup up again.
Eh?
This is all about the cup, Peter.
So as we can see the writing, see
it is back to front.
It's back to front.
Right. So where is this thing?
So click the cog above
you know, if you look bottom of the screen, Peter, can you see yourself?
Hold on. Ah, right.
It says Peter Stewart.
Ah, it's the. I was going into the wrong thing. Right. Untick. Right.
Now hold the cup up. It says we can see the writing. Back a bit.
Recyclable.
That's it. You're the right way round now.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, we've got it. We've got it now.
We've got it now, Pete.
You're actually set.
We now know the coffee machine is on your right, not your left.
All the things in the world that's happening in the world, and you want to know where I get my coffee cups. Well, look, we might as well talk about that.
We thought you were using either Costa or Starbucks or whatever,
I've now become a fan of Greg's, and you want to see the rate they're opening up here. I use the app. We've got a drive-in one just opened up in West Hill near me. They're everywhere, Greg's, in shops, and they've got franchises and petrol stations, and they're growing for why? the working person, I see them. The working man is going in and he's picking up his sausage rolls and his pies and his bacon rolls and everything. And hey, good to them, because do you know how much Costa has went up in price recently? £2.85 to go into a garage and get a Costa coffee black.
Right.
Yeah, please keep doing that. Please keep doing that, because the company Catering Equipment, that's my best customer,
Yeah,
they supply the trays for the milk in those machines in the
yeah.
garage.
If you bought shares in Whitbread, that's who owned them.
Yeah, and every time they ship trays out, we have to stick a label on it that says skimmed milk front, because they keep trying to ram the damn trays in the wrong way round. And they're shaped. You can't put them in the wrong way round, but when they try and put the wrong way round, they snap.
Yeah. Well, the coffee has went up ridiculously high, so I'm afraid it's goodbye to Costa. And I go into cheaper makes now, McDonald's, and I go into, I'll tell you, if a good deal you get is from Wetherspoons. If you go in, you get unlimited coffee for $1.99.
We 3 times went into Morrison's cafe for coffee, or in Celia's case, coffee. In my case, she said it was not the best, but for the price, it was very reasonable. It was £1.89 for a very large coffee.
Yeah, I think we should go back to the first subject was spoken about. Sinead O'Connor wasn't for me, you know. I think she had a bit of a troubled time, I believe. Yeah. But too young to pass away.
56, as we know from 56, is too young.
Yeah.
Especially with somebody so talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just didn't recover from her son's death last year.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. And I really again, I didn't listen to her too much. I think she was quite outspoken, wasn't she?
She was.
Well, she became Muslim.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Changed her name. Bit like Cat Stevens became, I can't think of his name now, but he did the same donkeys years ago.
Yeah, I was at a Muslim talk by a Muslim guy 2 nights ago about his book, The Divine Imprint, and you could throw questions at him. What about this, and what about that, and what about this? And he was telling us all about the Hadith and things like that, you know, and it was quite interesting, you know. He actually has a fatwa on him. That's my old accountant, actually. Mm-hmm. I'm leaving at the end of the week. Now, I'm going to tell, so let me give when you do work for people, do you give good terms and conditions so the client understands it?
Crystal clear, payment by return.
Right, okay, so that's but I use a thing called Zero, which is accounting packaging.
Yeah.
Spelled with an X.
Who owns the information inside it?
Well, that's a good question. Have you got it online, or is it on your own PC?
Well, we've had a dispute. Still friends, but we've had a dispute because all the stuff that's on there, he says that's our workings. So because it's not my Zero, the stuff's not getting handed over. And we've spoke to Zero, and they've basically said there's no law on it.
No.
No. So
you've changed accountant and he's not handing the info over.
Basically, he's not giving me access to the stuff that's been put into Zero, right? Because he says that was our workings to get your returns, etc.
But you paid him to do it.
Yeah, but it was his software, his license.
So won't he give you printouts of.
We're printing as we go now because the deadline's the 29th. And I don't know why you won't just give us the information, but we're looking at it all now. So, terms and conditions with our business people. If you're going to become a singer, this is for Royston Radio. Make sure you know everything that your management will take from you, right? The costs involved, the traveling costs, everything. Who's getting paid? All that before you start. And it's easy when you start out. I've been with these people for years. And so in my terms are now with people, it's payment up front. They sign for it when we go to the door, on the doorstep.
I think the key difference is you deal with the public as well as businesses.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And I've got 4 customers. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did take a new one on this year simply
Yeah.
because the lady who does the accounts at one of my businesses does the accounts at there.
Yes.
And they needed some help, and we knew each other well. And so I took them on board as a new customer.
So another thing I'll put out is that if we go to a person's house at the doorstep, by law, they have to be given a right to cancel contract for 14 days. And we say to them, do you want to get the work done now? And they'll say, yes. And they'll say, sign here that you're willing to go ahead with the 14, getting rid of the 14 days. And they've signed it, they've agreed to that. So we've told them up front. And it's a bit of paperwork we've got to do, you know. And it's actually worked very well for me because people then know that I'm a genuine business.
Now, this is going to sound silly, but this is terms and conditions as well. People on the allotments are allowed to sell excess eggs. It's
Right.
one of the few things you're allowed to do. You can't trade off the allotments, but because eggs go stale very quickly.
Yeah.
But now they're required by law to put a use by date on them. And so they have to write on the egg the date 14 days from the day it was laid.
Is that right? Wow. And
Yeah.
what it's used by, you can still use it in the 15th day.
The thing is, most eggs that get to the shop are at least 3 weeks old before they get to the shop.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just coming in on this as an expert in the field. Fresh eggs are not fresh.
Right.
Not as fresh. You can't get better than having chickens at the bottom of the garden.
I mean, we had 30 at the bottom of the garden when we had a much bigger garden than we have today. There's houses where the chickens used to live. You just, there's no comparison between getting an egg at the bottom of the garden and 15 minutes later eating it. It's just unbelievable. The same applies to sweet corn, of course. If you pick your own sweet corn and you eat it within the hour, the sugars are so strong, they drain away in no time at all.
Yeah, I don't eat sweet corn because it's full of sugar. Now, listen, here's a question for you then. If the supermarkets, you're telling me they're 3 weeks old, that would be past their sell-by date right away.
No. This is just home people that have to
right.
have to put that, and it's not a DEFRA thing; it's a council thing.
Yes.
Local.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Who would have thought we've been talking about eggs? There's something else that's on the news just now. And I've got to say, we can be manipulated. Kevin Spacey has been found not guilty of his accusations.
Yeah.
The man has lost a fortune. And the way they played it in the media, you were guilty. Netflix actually, I don't know where I was, Netflix actually fined him a lot of money because it brought them into disrepute or something. But he's been found not guilty.
I know, but it's the way things work is the problem, because as soon as somebody's accused of a sexual offence, then mud sticks.
Yeah.
And the brands don't want to know. They've got to say, right, okay, we cannot be involved until the trial is over. And he was kicked off House of Cards,
Yes.
a whole host of things that he was involved in
Mm-hmm.
on basis of accusations. And the thing here is that we have the Crown Prosecution Service who prosecute these cases. And they go to great lengths to decide whether to actually take the case to court. In other words, if they take this case to court, are they going to win?
Right.
And they must have thought they were going to win this, which means that there's something wrong within the Crown Prosecution Service, that they can take this to court.
Yeah.
And okay, it was a majority verdict, but as you say, he was found not guilty.
But that's the problem. Will he get that money back from Netflix?
He's lost millions.
Who gives him his money back? Because the people that accused him, they're not even getting to know their name.
You're gonna love this, Peter. It was a commercial decision. Yeah. And basically he had in the leg to stand on because he was damaged goods. Yeah. So that's why they were able to say, right, okay, this is what's going to happen. It's a busy morning. Aberdeen. It's a busy morning in Aberdeen. Let's give Peter a bit of space. Oh, wait a minute. No, he doesn't want it. He's not answering the phone.
Answer it.
Okay. Well, no, he's answering the phone.
Hello, hold on.
Right.
I don't know what he's doing.
No, he's safe. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Crown Prosecution Service actually decided that this case was winnable. And it's damaged his reputation. But what he hasn't done, John, is spend 20 years in prison. Which was the other case that was decided yesterday. And as Angelica said, if he had pled guilty to something he didn't do, then instead of having 20 years in prison, he would have been out in 5. And that's, again, the system just doesn't cater for outliers. If you deny your guilt, there's just no, it's just the system. And if somebody had not been fighting on his behalf, charity actually took over defending him and spent thousands of hours actually trawling through the case. There are a lot of questions to answer in this case, but he was in prison for 20 years, wrongly in prison for 20 years. And he won't get that time back, will he? I mean, it's not. Yeah, John's researching, I think.
John's answering an email.
Oh, right. Okay.
One, otherwise, I'd ignore it.
Okay. Right. So the show's mine. I mean, Peter's on the phone. John's answering his emails. I'm, dear listener on Royston Radio, I'm committed to actually bringing you an hour of news. Whilst I've got the show, I'm going to bring this on screen. Okay. The other day, in fact, yesterday, I was live on the OneStream Live YouTube channel. I work for OneStream, and I did a show about promoting your live broadcast. Now, if you want to know anything about promoting your live broadcast, the replay is on YouTube, and last night it appeared everywhere on my social media, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So if you want to check it out, please do. If you've got any questions, get in touch. And I'm going to be carrying out some of the suggestions I made over the coming days. John, are you still answering emails?
I'm back into the scene now. Hopefully.
Okay. Peter is drinking his coffee. Okay, so we're all back.
Yeah, my customer sent me an email that needed an answer immediately, I'm afraid. It was about spending money.
Yeah.
He said, "Can I buy this?" And I said, "You bought it last month."
I told you about my runaway car, did I? My van getting hit.
No.
All right.
So.
Over about 2 weeks now, my guy was in a van with the young man, and they came around the corner, and all of a sudden, A car came out of a driveway. They had to pull over. Whack! And the guy went out to see the driver. There was no driver in the car. It'd run down the brake couldn't have been on right. And I'll tell you something, I'm going to tell you about the name of the company that actually, his company, First Car Solutions or something. They were absolutely brilliant. Phone me, yeah, we'll take the blame for that. Go and get this van here. We've got a van waiting for you and we'll hire it for you and we'll just keep it running for you. And that's the car body place just getting in touch now. So they were absolutely good. I've got to tell you that from not trying to take the blame or anything like that. So I don't often say that, but well done. Yeah.
So you heard about the funeral director who parked his car on the top of the hill?
Right.
And the handbrake failed and the hearse rolls backwards.
Yeah.
And the bloke stood there on the pavement and he's running behind it and he sees a pharmacy. And he runs into the pharmacy and the lady behind the counter says, how can I help you? He says, can you give me something to stop me coughing?
Oh dear. We do apologise.
Has anybody ever heard of a place called Vogelzang?
Oh.
Vogelzang was a big lake. I think it's actually in Belgium. And it was Hitler's Aryan love camp. All the fit athletes, men and women, went there basically to breed. And on top of the hill, there was a big German eagle and things. And we used to go there for training, military training and some adventure training. And one day we were chieftain tank because you used to fire over the lake. One of the guys had let the handbrake off. Well, he didn't let it off. He hadn't put it on properly. And all of a sudden, a 52-ton chieftain tank rolled down the hill, went into the lake, hit the bottom. Now, you probably don't know this. If a soldier loses a piece of kit, they have to pay for it. You probably don't know that. But if you lose a piece of kit, your responsibility, and you have to, if you want to exchange a shirt or something, you go back, you've got to have the shirt with a hole in it or whatever. So the commander of a tank actually signs for it. And it went in the water. Now, I do believe that the Royal Engineers have got a diving unit and they actually used it for training purposes to see what the water had done to the tank. And I think that's how we got away with it. But there you go, folks. If you lose your shirt or anything, you have to go and you have to prove you've lost it. Otherwise, it come out of your wages. Were you aware of that, John?
I think I'd heard something along that line before, yeah.
And even soldiers had to pay for their accommodation and their food. And my father-in-law just didn't believe me. The only time you get it back is when you're out in the field. That's what happened. Anyway, so I just thought I'd tell you that story about the runaway tank.
My son was very unhappy. They changed his shift pattern 12 months after the new company bought it, after, Tupi had run out, etc. And at first he was really, really pissed off with this, to put it bluntly. I mean, he's 33 and he's a big bloke as well. He's 6'2" and built like the proverbial. And he was really fed up with this and really angry and he didn't want to do it, etc. And now he's been doing it for 2 months. He thinks it's the bee's knees. Kids, isn't it? But the real thing that's made a difference to him is now, instead of doing every evening, 5 evenings out of 7, now he does a whole day and 2 mornings and 2 afternoons. The afternoon runs on to about 7:15. But when he does the whole day, they feed him and he doesn't have to pay for it. And I've told him he's going to be careful that the tax man doesn't do him for benefiting kind.
Well, in fact, we were just talking about that this morning, having business meetings and maybe buying breakfast and things like that, what you get, etc. And
Yeah.
so I'm really going to have to, because it's nice to meet up with the guys.
Well, my accountant says you can't claim any food unless you've travelled at least 45 miles.
All right, okay, yeah. What if it's a business meeting?
Called tough shit.
Okay. What if the boss wants to
It's
buy them?
because there's only me, so I only have a business meeting with me.
What if it's a training? You're
employee-wise.
doing some training.
Training's a different story. You can
Ah.
include that in your costing, can't you?
Yeah, so I have training and sit down and have a meal and
Well,
training.
I can tell you, each accountant has their own thing, because the accountant before used to shout at me for not claiming for at least a couple of meals a month, and now my current accountant, who I actually think is absolutely brilliant, won't continence it. Countenance, not continence. That's what comes at your bottom.
It's a bit like MPs bringing them in and say, "I say, old chap, you're not claiming enough. You'll make us look bad." Would you be an MP?
No, don't be silly. I actually worked for quite some time with a gentleman who was an MP.
Yeah.
For Coventry Southwest, a really great guy who sadly went walking over Christmas and had a heart attack in the middle of nowhere on Christmas Day and passed away.
Oh dear, not so good. Yeah, not so good. I mean,
he was worked for Apricot, ACT as it was in those days.
yeah,
I'm going back a long time.
yeah. What did Britain ever do for the country, John? I'm just looking at something here. Ex-Australian Prime Minister, colonisation was the luckiest thing that ever happened to us. You don't often hear people saying that, do you?
It was. It was.
It was.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we colonised quite a few countries. Civilization.
You're losing your
sound-wise, Stephen.
Okay, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back now.
This MP, his name was John Butcher, and he
Okay.
was the most marvellous guy. But he used to have 3 cars: a really sporty car, a representative type car for being an MP, a local made Land Rover car, and then he had a piece of crap car for when he had to go to meetings with students because they throw eggs and things at it.
Do you remember how John Prescott dealt with somebody who thought he would egg?
Yeah,
I admired him for that. And he went bang! I just thought that was brilliant. I thought, yeah, you got what you asked for, my friend. Have some back, you know. So I'm looking at
and I'm really going back now. In 1987, at Liverpool, it was the Grand National. Yeah. And the IRA said there was a bomb on site. We weren't allowed to go to our cars. We go away. The only person who left in a car was 2 Jags.
Yes.
Because he was a minister at the time.
Yeah.
And the police drove him away. The rest of us had to find somewhere to stay overnight and come back and collect our cars after they'd been checked the next day.
Oh, well.
And they'd all got bits of tape on the windscreen.
Yeah.
It was 97, not 87. I said 87, but I meant 97.
After I left the army, you're actually a reservist until your time in the colours is up. A lot of people don't know that, right? So we used to have to turn up to Gordon Barracks here with some kit. They give us kit, like a dad's army sort of thing. And I went into the barracks one day. They have a big meeting and people are given a ticket and you have to go to the barracks and show your kit. And used to get 70 quid. And then we went in, there was a bomb scare. and they says, we'll need to search your van. And at the time I was working for a big pest control and it was absolutely jam-packed with stuff. And I opened it and it says, be my guest. And they just looked at it and says, just shut it again. They would have been there forever, looking at everything, you know. And
So
yeah, quite funny.
everybody was heading into town from this,
Yeah,
and I got to the railway station and went in the opposite direction and ended up in Blackpool. And so I stayed on the front in Blackpool and then travelled back to there. Those were the days, eh? Good fun and all that.
Do you know? I'm just thinking, what would unite this country at the moment? The thing with Nigel at the moment, he's got MPs from every party, people that absolutely hate him on his side at the moment. It's amazing how things can turn like that, is it?
They've not fallen in love with him. They just believe that he has been wronged.
Yeah, but it must have took a lot for him to say that, you know. And you probably help a lot of them now because there's 10,000 of them. He's making a new website. Somebody says, "Are you going back into politics?" He goes, "No, I've got a job to do here." And he set up a website for people that have been shut down and everything, you know. And yeah.
Mr. Farage. Let's just let him disappear. He could go and live in Spain with his wife, couldn't he? That would be better.
You need somebody to, otherwise we'd all be left leaning and would get rolled over, the retinas taken and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, the country can't be united, Peter. There are two sides: Brexit, no Brexit. Brexit's gone through, and now the majority of people in the country think it was a bad idea.
Only because they never let it go ahead, because all the skullduggery that's went on with people that. But hey, listen, I might be getting a Scottish passport. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, the next plan with the Scottish government, if they're still here, is to have our own Scottish passport. So they're saying, if we take a Scottish passport, we'll get dual nationality. That you'll have to read up in exactly. So a Scottish passport, you got a chance to become Scottish, or you got a chance to stay within the United Kingdom, I think. Because some people don't know that if you are in Northern Ireland, you're entitled to a Irish passport. But some of the unionists would rather put a bullet in their head and get an Irish passport. It's crazy. So I don't think in my lifetime, I hope I don't drop down tomorrow, but I don't think in a lifetime we're going to see a separate Scotland. Do you think that will happen?
John?
Be good to get rid of you people with short arms and deep pockets, wouldn't it? You know.
Yes. Yeah. Always making a fool.
I don't think we'll ever see in our lifetimes. I don't think Scotland will become independent.
No, it's
the other thing that won't happen in our lifetime, fortunately, is that last year we had temperatures of 40 degrees. We're going to get temperatures of 40 degrees every few years as climate change takes hold, and it won't be grey skies outside. It'll be clear blue skies and sun throughout.
Oh, looking forward to sunshine all year round. Great.
40, yeah, but if you give me high 20s, low 30s, okay, I'll live with that. But 40 degrees and above, with our climate, we don't have a dry climate, so the heat is different from if you're in the south of France. You can possibly bear it better.
Yeah,
it become like Singapore.
Right. What happens in Singapore?
Singapore, you can't in the summer. You've got to be indoors with aircon.
And what else can't you do in Singapore?
Sorry?
What else can't you do in Singapore?
You can't drop litter, Peter. Next one.
You can't put chewing gum in the pavement, for sure.
Yeah. It's one of the most successful countries in Asia.
I can't remember what country it is, but a woman's going to wait to be executed for the first time in 20 years. Can't remember which country it is. First one in 20 years.
Memory's the thing that goes first, Peter.
Drugs. It's drugs. That's what it's for. Now, the other big news is that someone's been in front of the panel in the United States, or is it a congressional committee or something like that, saying that there are UFOs. Did you see it?
I heard reference to it, yeah. I caught a short clip.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched it. But, well, do you think there's other beings out there?
I think anything's possible. Never rule anything out. And it's possible, Peter. I don't know. There could be. It could be here now.
Maybe when we go away eventually, they say, Peter Stewart, hold on now. You're going to that planet, sir? I said, is that a good planet? No chance. We might end up on another planet, you know?
So often science fiction becomes science fact, as we know. The congressional hearing will look into it and issue a report and say whether it's actually any truth in it at all.
Did you see one of the astronauts he's saying we never went to the moon? Did you see that one? One of the astronauts, the famous ones.
That was a film called Capricorn 1.
No, this was the real astronaut went up. He's actually saying we never went to the moon.
We've got photos.
Well, he says they never went. He says it was done in the studio. I can't remember which one it is. Is it Buzz Aldrin, I think? I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not saying it is him.
No, I seem to remember that he was just blown away by his space travel. So
yeah, I did remember somebody went up and got Bibles and said to them, put your hand on this Bible and say you went to the moon. They wouldn't do it.
Right. Okay, now to something which I've been championing for the last 4 years, which is the use of CRISP.ai for noise cancellation.
Yeah.
Just a minute, Peter. I said in the past tense here. I'm not in the current tense. CRISP.ai is now totally over-engineered and it doesn't work. Basically, if I switch over to CRISP now, which I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch to CRISP, and here we go. You said earlier, my sound is rubbish. This is CRISP. I don't know what it's doing. It cuts in and out. It garbles what I'm saying. CRISP is an ex-CRISP.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still running it and haven't seen any problems at all, but I don't broadcast anywhere near as much as you.
Yeah.
I only broadcast every week.
The problem I've got with all these things is their password and so I'm going to be looking at my bank account and slowly going through it and say direct debit cancel, direct debit cancel.
I've done that.
And there's things you pay for. There was a sneaky one. I've been paying it for 4 years. So Royston people, every so often look at your direct debits and say, what is this for and what's that for? And you'll be surprised how much money you save, you know?
Well, the thing is that the microphones I have got noise cancellation on the microphone itself. Right. So I'm going to start using that.
Okay.
Yeah. So switch the noise cancellation on the microphone.
Yeah.
I'll try that over the next couple of weeks because I've got 3 microphones.
Yeah. The other problem, I'll have to go and get a phone today. The other problem I'm having, I've actually got a Motorola phone, right? I think I'm going to go back to Samsung. And when I ask it to do something in the car, because everything's got my hand free just now, if people was to look in the car, you hear me shouting it and everything, coming up with the wrong addresses, the wrong names, and also, just I've now to say, I don't say call, I say telephone, whoever it is, and navigate to stuff, and everything's starting to fail me. Little gadgets are starting to fail me, and I'm annoyed at these. and I get frustrated. And it's meant to be hands-free.
Mm.
And I've trained it to my voice. I've trained it. I think there's...
You don't have sat nav or anything in the car, then you're relying on the phone itself to do
No,
the
the sat nav in the van is actually, you've got to plug it in from your phone into a USB.
Oh, right.
It's not built in. I can't afford such luxuries. So it's got to be plugged in. Your phone's got to be plugged in to the car system. In fact, it was one of the biggest complaints in a motoring magazine just recently. People have got all these fancy things that can do cartwheels and said, any chance of showing us how to use it on their cars? Big problem.
So okay, because obviously mine uses the phone, but it just uses Bluetooth to connect.
Yeah, the Bluetooth's no problem, but
Free is part of the car, not part of the phone.
if I plug it in and I ask the app, tell the app to navigate.
So you're using Android Auto?
Yes. Yeah, and it's failing recently. There's a lot of complaints about it.
Well, mine will run Android Auto, but you just like you say, you have to connect it by USB.
Yeah.
The latest version of the car I have has wireless connectivity for Android Auto.
I like that.
But you can buy a little device to give you wireless for Android Auto if you do a little quick search.
Well, do a little search and send it on, John. That'd be great of you.
I'm a free research centre, you know.
Yeah. I've got as many gadgets. Now, listen, big news this weekend. I'm doing a gig this weekend, the Rockin' Jocks. And we're away to pick up our new uniform. We've got our video made, and we've got Shawadi Wadi jackets, and it's pink round here, but it's now tartan.
Right.
They've got a tartan across there, yeah. And we've got tartan trousers, and we're doing all the Shawadi Wadi and some ska. And I'm looking, because all we've done recently is practice and practice and practice.
Yeah.
And my friend, who's a perfectionist, right? He's even not getting on to him anymore because we've kind of gelled. I don't go you, we go you. And I became a musician, right? You heard that song? Don't worry about a
thing.
We say ting, Jamaican. But I don't say ting now. I'm going to join the musicians union. You know what I've got? A triangle. Ting.
Right.
So I'm a musician. He's teaching me to play the drums.
Yeah. Enjoy the show, Peter.
Yes, that's me.
Right. Okay. Just to see if there's anything we've missed. We haven't talked about much news-wise.
There isn't much news, is there, news-wise?
No, we're in the silly season, aren't we? As far as news is concerned. Just going over to the Guardian, see if the Guardian's got anything. No. Oh, there is one thing. I come back to the studio. Hopefully I can get back to the studio. I can't. Hang on. Escape. I've got myself leg locked there. All right. At the Oval in Surrey is the 5th test between England and Australia. The 4th test ended at Old Trafford in Manchester with 2 days of rain, and therefore that match was a draw. So we in the 5th match, and I don't. Peter and John couldn't give a monkeys, but I want England to actually win. Okay, John, it's over to you.
Oh, Pete's running away.
Have to go. Bye.
Okay, Peter, bye.
It's goodbye from Stephen, and it's goodbye from me. We will be here again next week, same time, same place. Listen to us on Saturday on Royston Radio. Bye.
Bye, everybody.